time as any to mention, though I guess we're getting in the game, but we do put on a Dragon Quest RTA marathon about once a year, usually around May. It's usually on the RPG Limit Break channel. And in addition to that, we've got a Discord channel with a bunch of Western runners of almost every game in the series that you can find on any SRC Dragon Quest leaderboard. Should have a link to the Discord if you're interested in running any of the games in the series. Even though I say Western runners, we also run most of the games in Japanese as well. So we've got resources for just about anything you could want to learn, with some exceptions. I don't know if we have any resources for swords, but
Yeah, probably not much for this game.
yeah. The two of us having played it a year and a half ago makes us two of the more qualified people to do this commentary, I think. It's a pretty obscure Dragon Quest spin-off on the Nintendo Wii.
Featuring Wiimote motion controls.
Yep.
So yeah, this game is Dragon Quest Swords for the Wii. It's a spiritual successor to Kenshin Dragon Quest, which is a like a bundled console thing that plugs directly into a TV.
Plug and play type thing.
Yeah, uses the almost like a light gun kind of thing. I think it only works on CRTs for some of the tracking. But Maru-san did a run of Kenshin Dragon Quest for RTA in Japan a year or two ago. That was really exciting. He got like super into it. He was really yeah, they obviously had a camera for him, and he was really showing off with it. And this is a spiritual successor to that, but this one takes place in, I think that one takes place in like DQ1 world. This one takes place in its own world. Avalonia, I think, is the English name for it.
Like webcams are required for any game that is motion control.
So yeah, game starts off, as with most, modern games, especially ones with motion controls, it starts off with a kind of a tutorial segment where the sword master here is gonna finish you're trying to finish up your training. So he's gonna teach you the different types of sword moves. Naji, I guess is his name in Japan. Dao, I think is his English name. All the names in this game are different for Japan compared to English, as with most modern DQ games. So probably talk a little bit about the stuff we see on screen versus some of it I'll use the English names for, but so the first thing they're showing you is doing a regular slash, and then they show you how if the target isn't centered on screen, you can kind of lock on to a point in the screen. That's what he did when he was over on the right, going over vertical and horizontal slashes, diagonal slashes, and this stabbing move you can do. The shield.
As there's kind of elements of like, Fruit Ninja or Metal Gear Rising going on here, where you can just slash in different directions. If an enemy's guarding in a certain direction, you slash them the other way to get through their guard. And hold up your shield to block attacks.
It introduces the projectiles that you can also block with your shield.
Yeah.
It's worth noting that the Wii motion controls for this game are good, but not great. So, getting things to register horizontal versus diagonal slashes and stabs and stuff, we'll see if that makes it issue in the for the run or not. This runner is very good, but this game is a lot harder than it looks casually.
So good but not great, you're saying it's peak Wii motion controls.
It is peak Wii motion controls, yeah.
As much as I liked the Wii, it wasn't great a lot of the time.
The Wii Motion Plus? I don't think so. But maybe.
I can check the case.
Mine's in the other room somewhere. But I don't think it does. So the last thing they they showed there in the tutorial was the, I don't know what they call it in Japanese. It's they call it a master stroke in English, which is like a special move you can use. You've got a gauge at the bottom of your character portrait that goes up to 100%. It's like a sword-looking gauge, and then you can use a special ability, which has like a really kind of over-the-top animation. As the run goes on and you get more weapons, that unlocks new master stroke abilities you can do, which have certain motion controls in order to power them up.
There was a sticker over the part that tells you how many controllers and whether it uses the motion control. So we'll trust chat. Nope, totally doesn't use it. Probably, as far as we know. Wii menuing is something that I don't miss from the Wii. Pointing the remote at the screen with its latency.
Yeah, I think he was just changing move speed to be like sprinting. Not 100% sure.
I think the worst thing on the Wii was if you didn't have a USB keyboard, putting your credit card information into the eShop.
I didn't
Took
even know
so
USB
long.
keyboards worked on it.
Yeah, I think I plugged one in like twice, but I just, got used to not only memorizing my credit card number, but the positions on the screen so I could type it in pretty quickly just with the remote. It was faster than getting up and plugging in a keyboard.
ここよく名シーンって言われるらしいんですけど、オフカッターだとどうですか？いや知らないです。十分ちょっとわかんない。あ、知らないですか？あ、ちょっと名シーンで言われてるのは一部みたいですね。ちょっと。はい、それはさておきまして、このモンスターですね、今後のショーにも出てきますので。
Got a little intro scene here.
あ、今ショーで言ったんですけども、この。
It absolutely did not save your info. No, you had to type it in every time.
8章終わりまして、ラスボスを倒しますと完走という流れになっていきます。ここから2時間ちょっとの旅をお楽しみください。さあ、ここでプロローグが終わりましたね。
So the start of this run here is like you're finishing up your training, and first thing they're going to want you to do is oh, here we go. We're yelling out spells in our sleep. Mera, Yonazun.
That escalated quickly.
From Blaze to Explodet. So yeah, we're 16. Feels Hero's birthday, man. And now we get to go finish our training. And I think we might have to walk into the castle real quick. But the idea is that you're told that you need to go into the cave here. In English, it's Calibern Cave, and defeat the knight at the end of it, Sir Dirk Worthington. And that's kind of our final task here. The Japanese chat seems to be having fun with Ionazun.
Must be exciting in the Dragon Quest universe, reading your birthday cards, hoping that one of them's the king telling you that you're the hero, by the way.
It's probably also just like, I don't know, really fun in Japan. Like if you grew up playing Dragon Quest and like you get a birthday card from your parents or something like that, and it's got like DQ references or something in it.
Yeah. I'm sure they sell cards that say, oh yeah, you're finally old enough to be the hero, go kill Baramos for your 16th birthday. Better than DQ4, 17th birthday, your whole village gets burnt down.
That's not a very good birthday present.
No. Birthday card just says hide and survive.
No. So there's a whole town that you can choose to explore here. There's a shop, there's a blacksmith, There's little like odds and ends you can find, barrels with herbs and mini metals and that sort of thing. There is a mini metal collection scheme in this game, but Burner isn't doing any of that. He's just peacing out. That guy there is Baudo. He's Claymore in English. He's your dad, and he was, I think, previously a adventurer of some sort. I don't know. I don't remember what his backstory is.
Alright, gameplay.
Gameplay indeed. And gameplay starts off pretty slow and simple. You can see here monsters are kind of running onto the screen from the side, and knowing where the monsters are going to be to lock on and hit them all in as few hits as possible and as quickly as possible. It's pretty the obvious part of the speed tech. It'll get a lot more complicated. You can see there he had some issues with, like, it looked like he was trying to do horizontal slashes to hit them all, but was reading diagonals and missed the one on the left.
I thought that was interesting with the very first set of slimes that ran on screen. They seemed to be vertically oriented, but he was doing horizontal slashes and hitting them all.
Yeah. This mole here Gopher sort of introduces the mechanic that you can't attack enemies that are in the background. You can only hit foreground enemies, so you have to wait for them to jump forward before you can attack them. It's also interesting that right off the bat on that Gopher fight, they give you an attack that 2 projectiles at once that it's just impossible to block both.
Yeah.
Almost everything in this game can be blocked in some form, but not that. You can also see that he is earning experience, gaining some levels. His stats do go up as he levels. Like his max HP, I think it's like, well, it starts off as 5 HP per level. I don't know. That's what it stays the whole game, but
Dirt doesn't seem to be hurting him, though. Does it just mess up the screen, make it harder to see?
I don't know.
This guy reminds me of the priest in DQ8 that have the really long face. Just so much empty space on their face.
I find it interesting that also they're playing in the widescreen mode. I wonder if that's actually useful for the speedrun. Like, can you see more off to the sides in widescreen, or is it just an aesthetic thing?
Yeah. Maybe there'd be places where you could even hit monsters before they're on screen on the standard ratio.
I think the Wii widescreen, like, didn't actually... I thought it was like an anamorphic widescreen that didn't actually, like, show more, but I don't know. I don't know enough about it. Our friend, the bubble slime here. So far, very much an intro area. These enemies and these formations are quite simple. Only 1 or 2 things at a time, and really only dealing with 1 attack at a time. You can see that there is a, also at the top right, there is a combo meter that's building up. Here he's going to use one of those Master Stroke abilities. This will hit enemies that are in the background section. It doesn't have to wait for them to jump forward. But yeah, that combo meter is building up for successful hits in a row without missing. And I'll explain that in a minute, but basically it'll affect your score. There you can see the Lilipa shot a arrow, and it had like a blue circle on the screen instead of a red one. and those you can slash with your sword at the right time, and it will reflect back at the enemy, rather than just blocking it with your shield.
Dirt clumps I gotta block with my shield, but arrows I gotta hit out of the sky with my sword. That's
Yep.
Hollywood logic for you.
さあ、今このマークここなんですよ。
Here we're going to see some destructible terrain, which doesn't get used a ton in this game, but they use it here. You can see he slashed one of those rocks to break it down.
初めてやりました。あ、初めてですか。いや、ちょっと本番ということもあって、ちょっと魔物がいますね。さあ、次が、個人的に最難関という6号と手に入れましたね。ここで、スライムが揃ってから切ります。さあ、この後のバブルスライムですが、ここを切って、で横で、
Again, getting faults registering on the directionals.
この5体ドラキなんですが、あ、いいですね、縦3体ですね。下手したら斜めで来ることも、あ、ちょっとこれは斜めで切ったんですが、いいですね、落ち着いてますね。まあ一回ヒット切ってしまったんで、もうこれからはヒット切っても大丈夫です。
Yeah, the whole game is pretty much on rails, except for like town. You can choose to like stop in a couple spots to open up chests. There was a spot earlier where there was like a branching path that he went past, but you can't actually take the other path yet. I think you need an item or something like that to take it. The one here, but there are a couple spots with branching paths that might have treasure or a faster way through the level.
Yeah, a lot of those you just have to come back later after you get an item, and it just kind of adds a little variety to a map you've already cleared. And besides that, any other branching paths are usually just a treasure chest, and then you have to immediately turn around.
Yeah, and treasure chests aren't going to be super important in this run. There are, I think, like crafting materials for upgrades in some of them. A lot of times it's just like, you know, herbs or healing items. This is the first boss of the area, Sir Dirk. And it's pretty simple, you know, block his hits, he'll recoil, and you hit him while he's stunned from the recoil. Yeah, you have to fight every encounter that you run into. Enemies can run away in some cases, so you can miss enemies. So you see here on this clear screen, he's got clear time, he's got monsters defeated, 91 out of 92. So he actually missed one of the Drakis that flew off screen earlier. There's the max hit combo, there's your hit percent, block percent, and then it gives you kind of like a bonus score. And it'll give you a ranking at the end of the fight, and based on that ranking, it'll give you one of 3 crafting materials that you can use towards weapon upgrades. There's one guaranteed item you get from every boss, and then a second one that's based on your rank. And I'm assuming that specific ranks are needed for this route to get certain upgrades, but I'm not really sure what like backups are, or or how difficult or how reliable those ranks are. You know, do you need to get every monster or something for S rank? I don't know. Came down here and opened that chest. I think that was a repair powder. You'll see a little bit later, one of the mechanics in this game is that your shield can take some damage, and there's items to restore your shield, which I think is what that was. Spoon is best. I don't think we'll be seeing the spoon, but I don't want to say it's impossible.
はいそして、1章で試練クリアしたんですけど女王がまだいないので、本当は女王からお言葉をいただけるのですが、まあ、大臣からよくやったという
See, we got some raiders from High Spirits. Welcome more DQ friends
で
to DQ swords.
ディーンさんですね。女王様が出かけたので、なんたらかんたっつったらすれおったみたいなこと言ったんで、まあとりあえず様子を見に行きましょう。
So we're going to tell them about the completion of our of the quest here to kill Sir Dirk.
まあそうですね。1章でちょっと EX 取れなかったのは残念ですけど、まあこれで大きく進行が変わることはありませんので。
And then let's see. I think he heads back to town, back to home. Nope. I guess first he's going to the blacksmith. So blacksmith over here. It's the horn hat guy. I love this dude. It's actually like a pretty good looking horn hat guy, and you'll see why I like him in a second here. Oh, I guess he's selling that repair powder. Must have been short on money. He's gonna upgrade the copper sword into the steel sword by hitting it with 2 hammers.
問題となってくる箇所があるので、敵のドロップ魔物の骨というアイテム
Love that animation. It's so good.
そのアイテムは落ちることを皆さんお祈りお願いいたします。今は1章で計1つ落ちております。ボスも1つ落としていましたが、あれは通常ドロップで基本的にレアドロップはしないという想定でいますので、それを数えずに残
And
り
he's heading back home. So kind of gets you the story beat for the next part. Your dad's here, but the prince is gonna come in. Japanese name for the prince is Dane, but it's Prince Endless in the English version. And he's I don't know, he thinks that something weird's going on with his mom, the queen, and he wants to go to the queen's retreat in the woods to see if he can figure out what's going on. So he's looking actually for your dad to help, but your dad's like, why don't you go instead? So we get to go on an adventure with the prince.
Thanks, Dad.
Dad looks like the kind of guy that would just make his kid do it instead.
Yeah.
でもバウドさん、両お忍びで出かけられたということで、まあディーンさんのそう、
There they're talking about the queen. Looks like based on the dialogue I've seen there, Eruheim looks like probably the name of the forest or the place in the forest.
お母さんのこと好きで、まあ心配でしょうがないようですね。
In Japanese, Galentine Glades in English.
まあなんだかんだ言ってディーンのことは心配であって、主人公にディーンのことを助けてくれないかと、頼んできます。ちょっとね、バウドさんの方が多分強いと思うんです。
Now we're gonna go find the prince and
まあ使えないんですけど。
tell him that we'll help him out.
はい、ディーンさんすぐそこにいますね。そうだ。なんかもうバウドさんとね、こういう約束。
And then this is where the game's gonna introduce. He's gonna join your party. The game's gonna introduce the kind of AI party mechanic.
これもなんかの試練ですかね。そうですかね。まあってことでね、まあディーンさんに
There are a couple different party members that will show up throughout the game.
呼んでくださいって言われるんですけど、君の準備を待っていたんだよって私は思うんですよ、毎回。
Everybody usually has a favorite one.
まあってことで、はい。まあ少しね、一章で、ハプニングはありましたが、無事鋼を継ぎ。
And then finally back to more gameplay. This runs a pretty slow start. It's 24 minutes in and we're just now hitting the second area. And the first area, like, I don't know, barely even counts. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, it was 9 or 10 minutes to get to the first area, and then about as much more between those two. This would be kind of a rough run to do resets on.
いや、ここで変える。
あ、そこで変えますか。はい。で、ここ、後ろのお化けキノコ、背景あります。
Looks like he just set the AI tactics to manual. I kind of forgot that you could set AI tactics, but that's definitely what that screen looked like. Party members don't actually, like, attack, but they have various spells they can cast. So, like right there, he just had the prince use Gira or Fireball. Check out those enemies, it'll hit the ones in the back, so you don't need to wait for them.
今のドラキーのように遠くにいる敵にも、当たります。ここでは、MP の都合で撃たないですが、ここで撃ってドラキーを倒すことができています。
Zombie.
これを使って、遠くの敵を倒し、短縮を図っていく場所もあります。
That really reminds me, like someone earlier commented, arcade shooter, but just the way that zombie jumps up in front of you and then jumps backwards and then stands there for a second before doing anything. You think of the on-rail shooters in arcades where enemies do that.
For sure.
で、また3体ですね。ここもまた同じです。また1体がルカナを撃ってきて、横で倒す。はい、この後ですが、タホドアキーが出てくるタイミングでギラを撃つことによって、実は左側にバブルサイブがいるんですが、出てこなすぎて大きいです。さようなら。はい、ここドアキー、タホドアキーゾーンですが、またこれはギラでございます。
Taking out big groups of Drakkies with a fireball here.
ドアキーたちが出る前に言ってるんですが、敵を倒した時に出てくるピンクの霧のようなものが出た瞬間くらいにギラを撃てば、間に合います。
Obviously, it's a speedrun, so clearing out these enemies as quickly as possible is pretty important. Here he's doing the stab move to take out the rock, I guess. And also using the stab against this orc, looks like it's kind of breaking his guard. I remember the stab move being pretty tough to like reliably get the controls to register. So, but the runner seems pretty good at it. So.
実は今のところメタルスライムの出現ポイントでした。このゲームメタルスライムを出現する場所、メタルスライムははぐれスライム。
The Japanese commentators saying metal slime. We gonna see one in a second?
6分の1を確率で、出てくる可能性があります。
I don't know.
ただしこのゲーム、全敵撃破のボーナス協定ですね。ランクのところでそれがあるせいで、メタルスライムは
And there were a couple Wii games that made you do thrusting motions, and the games that were only using the sensor bar and not like a motion plus, they were not great at detecting that sometimes.
ここも実は6分の1で出ます。ここは猶予 0.4 秒ほどで、このドラゴンクエストソードで一番厳しい猶予と言われている箇所でしたが、出てこなかったですね。
Yeah, even the regular Wiimote had an accelerometer in it, which I'm assuming is what it used, but it really wasn't great. Remember Twilight Princess had the one where you had to like stab but with the nunchuck, do like a shield bash or something. Feel bad for the second green slime. Yeah. 2 green slimes, but only one Pierre. Second one just walks away sad.
ほぼほぼ安泰と言えますが、ガードをたまにミスしてしまうこともありますので、そこだけは気をつけていきたいところです。はい、ここドラキーがたくさん出てきます。で、最初に横切りを出した理由ですが、タコドラキーの方が多少、
I like how the fireball's like even hitting the one that's barely even on screen.
レベルアップでギラ分の MP を賄うスピードが速くなるため、先に横切りを出しました。で、実はこのタコドラキーですが、魔法の聖水というアイテムを、魔法の聖水という MP を回復できるアイテムをマレイドアップします。 このアイテムですが RTA 中に順調にいけば
I wasn't
Alright,
really paying attention there, but I'm assuming that when his character, party member leveled up, that he gained some more MP and immediately cast that spell with it. Because I know he was completely out earlier, unless something else refilled it.
I didn't see anything else that refilled it, so you're probably right.
I saw the level up happened right before the spell cast.
Ah. Yeah, your party members do level up, they get more MP, and they get more spells also.
あとなんか自信大丈夫でしょうか。あ、同じドラゴンクエスト同じ5で。
And here is our boss,
こちら2章
one of Countess's favorite DQ bosses, the Golem.
はい。ということで、さっきの女とは誰のことなんで
This
すか。
Golem's pretty cool.
そんなことはとりあえず
He's he's got some strong punching attacks, and he'll punch the various corners of the screen. And the idea is you got to block him, and then he'll recoil. But it can be pretty tough to tell when you're playing casually, like which corner he's gonna punch. And these punches come out pretty quickly.
STQ Monsters is the game that turned Golem into an early boss instead of the threatening mid to late game boss he was in DQ1.
Hmm.
Then this game in DQ7 also use him as a very early enemy.
Yeah, true. I didn't really think about that. Interesting. Got some big XP.
ここがまた少し、ここがね、多分この RTA で一番長いストーリーかな。まあ、あそこが長いか。まあ、結構かなりこの RTA の中で。
So again, we were going here to the Queen's retreat, hideout, place. Looking forward to figure out what's up with her. So now that we're past the Golem, catch a glimpse of the Queen.
この RTA を最初に走られた方っていうのはおてうさんっていう方なんですが、まあ特にビデオなことは残っていないんですが、この方なんとこのゲーム発売1週間以内にこのゲームを走っています。隠れて。そしてその時のタイムが3時間54分。まあレポートをやっているんで、あまり計測区間とかもちゃんと分かってないんですけど。
SDQ Builders also made Golem the first boss, didn't they?
でその後に、ニコニコ動画の方で、
Yep.
クネオさんという方が、2008年4月8日、
And the Queen is wearing this weird mask.
に2時間45分29秒という記録を出して
Unmasked
こちら
Queen.
計測区間が本来の、
Hmm.
時間よりとても長くなっており、
Thinking
大
face.
体これより10分ぐらい早い記録が本当なんじゃないかなって言われています。まあここまでは参考記録で、ここまでは参考記録で、speedrun.com と言われる
I don't think we've said this yet, but the subtitle for this game is The Masked Queen in the Tower of Mirrors, so there's half of it.
ジェノカービーさんという方で、2016年3月28日
Now
She
here we
may
get
or
it.
may not go to a Tower of Mirrors later.
8年飛んで8年飛んで3時間17
Now we
分
meet
52秒という記録
Lorette.
正式世界記録として
Setia?
その後
Satea?
ハード
Something like that's her name in
Question mark so far.
多分まあちょっと呼び方わかんないんですけど
in this in the Japanese.
2016年4月9日
I love her outfit.
3時間
Super cute.
44秒という記録を
Very a product of this era.
まあそしてその後、5年ほど飛びまして、またもや5年ほど飛びまして、
But she thinks she might know, might have an idea of what might be going on with the Queen. So she's gonna come back to town. I think she's talking about the mask. Something about magic in there.
2章ストーリーの話ですね。まあ仮面の女王という
I don't really know
タイトル
most of the words or kanjis that are going on, but
だけるんですが、
there are a few.
で、その仮面の女王が訪れていた小屋の中にはセティアというこちらドラゴンクエストシリーズで知っている方もいらっしゃるんじゃないでしょうか。このキャラクターが出てきます。 で、このセティアさん、兄上のセティア、セティアじゃない、フォーグさんがいまして、そのフォーグさんの治療をするためにこの小屋にいたんですが、その兄上さんがどこかに行ってしまって、
This cutscene pacing really isn't that great, but it's kind of par for the era of Wii.
発言したんですが、
Just thinking the same thing, yeah.
言わずにまあ去っていってしまったというようなストーリーですね。
The characters really aren't that animated here, moving very slowly compared to even like DQ8, honestly.
Yeah, and there's no like skipping through text, you know, it's like let's let the entire
Yeah.
voice line play before you can go on to the next text box. You have to
Yeah.
play this whole thing in order.
まあそれでもう一度女王様やってみるってセティアさんも言って、お城に一緒に来ることとなります。これにて2章が終わりになります。
はい、それでは3章に入っていきましょう。まずですね、ストーリーを進める前に、武器の強化に行くことになります。先ほど、
Alright, Chapter 3.
Open the arms merchant.
もらったんですが、強化をしていきます。仮にですね、1章で EX を取った場合では、
I don't think Tulun's in this game.
2章初めの武器の強化の際に売ることで、
What's chapter 3?
I don't know.
What else is it gonna be?
なので最悪でも1章2章のどちらかで EX を取れれば、
What I do know is that
もし仮にですね、
this
World Do or whatever just sold for a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought I saw Hakai in there. Was it a Sword of Destruction or something? It was early for that, but I don't know.
Like an icon for either a magic
that's right.
water or a world do.
Okay.
But now all of a sudden the text wants to go fast.
Yeah. Regardless, he upgrades the sword to the lightning blade. There's a couple different lightning blades in this game. So this is the Ikazuchi no doesn't use the normal sword word. I didn't actually note down what it was, and I didn't read it in time as it was flying through the screen. But it's not the Thunder Sword. It's the one before the Thunder Sword. But it's a lightning sword. Again, the different weapons in this game give you... I don't remember if the weapons directly affect your like damage attack power, but the weapons definitely do give you different master stroke abilities. Now the sword here, this one isn't the Tsurugi, it's got a different name to it. That's the next upgrade tier from it, is the Inazuchi no Tsurugi. This one is the... I don't know. Lightning blade, anyway. It's another word for lightning and another word for sword. Or blade. Alright, so... Florette's got an idea of a place we can find some more information. So she's going to join up with us. Going to introduce the second party member character. Can only have one with you at a time, so the prince isn't going to be present for this next the next area. This next place will be the, well, in English it's the Airindit Heights. Now, this one isn't the Thunderbolt Blade's the mid-tier one. This is the first one. I think it's just called Lightning Blade in English. The names are kind of confusing because a lot of them sound similar, both in Japanese and in English. The different elements all have multiple tiers to them. There's like a fire sword, a ice sword, and a lightning sword that you can choose to kind of pick which path you want to upgrade your weapon to.
Gimmick of the sword series, or pretty much seeing it right here.
Yep. You get a sword and you slash stuff with your sword. This is the game. Yeah, this is the spiritual successor to the name there, Kenshin. Yeah, Kenshin Dragon Quest, which again was featured at a previous RTA in Japan by Maru. It was a really fun run. Getting some more new enemies, some new interesting formations. Those little fire spirits were in some diagonal formations. Some bomb crags here. The tutorial pops up right as you're getting ready to hit the next bomb crag.
I think some of these might just be rocks, and then that one was the actual monster.
Yeah, you know, I think you're right, now that you mentioned that.
Level up.
There's a little metal slime friend jumping across there. Easy to miss with all the blaze ghosts, but you ran by.
He's already gained 5 levels between his two characters.
And you can see here, when he was using the shield there, you can start to see the shield taking some damage. It's got a chunk cut out of it. And that definitely affects the ability of the shield to block attacks.
I don't recognize these enemies. Kind of look like bees.
Yeah, so now we're on this raft, kind of get a actual on motion section. I think some of the enemies here are missable. They'll still shoot at you and junk, but you can fail to take them out. Thankfully, if you know where they are, they're not too bad. Get some Hawkmen here. Always cool to see.
Died in one hit? That's not a very faithful DQ2 Hawkman.
I know.
DQ builders did those guys right. They're kind of scary.
Field's got a pretty decent chunk out of it now. The repair powder, there's a repair powder item that can actually fix your shield up. And in addition, Florette here knows a spell that's Buy Shield. I don't know what it's called in English. It's Buy Shield in Japanese. That makes your shield, that one that she just learned, makes your shield bigger and easier to block stuff. It doesn't repair it, but it makes it larger on screen. And we're going over the waterfall. It's DQ, of course there has to be a waterfall.
Is that true?
I mean, no, I guess DQ1 doesn't have a waterfall. Yeah, so the reticle, so the swings by default will originate or will center around the center of the screen. So a horizontal or vertical or diagonal slash will be, you know, kind of a cardinal attack based on the center of the screen. And if the if it goes to that little 4-point reticle, that's locking onto a specific location, and then the attacks will be relative to that location instead. And there's also a stab you can do, which hits at that location. I don't think Chang is using the stab very often, but there are a couple enemies where it's useful for breaking their guard. Yeah, the golem, he used it, the orcs in that last level also. Bomb Crag there, reflecting back to explode the rest of them. First the rest of the enemies, and the second the rest of the bomb crags. Just casually ignoring the treasure chest. Countess is screaming to himself right now, "Go back and pick it up."
There's an herb in there. I need to heal.
So of course fireballs, for some reason we can just reflect those with the sword, you know.
Oh, I remember this part. Chimeras are trying to peck at the ropes on the ladder to knock you down.
Ooh, Mr. Reflection. Alright, he got that one. We're fine. They can actually peck away and collapse the bridge, and I don't remember what happens. I think you just have to, like, if it brings you on an alternate path, or if you actually have to redo part of the level, or...
It's one or the other, because I know you just walked underneath the bridge to get up there.
Right.
I don't remember what the fix is if it collapses on you.
I think it happened to both of us when we played, though.
Yeah. I thought more birds showed up than that.
Oh.
Oh.
Nani?
There's trouble. Okay, well, he wasn't much trouble. Okay.
He didn't even get to fence spell himself. It's pretty cool that they animated that, though, for this game. Alright, so, top of the mountain. I don't really remember if you know why. Like, Florette tells you that there's something interesting here, but I don't know for sure if it if you know why until you're here. But first we got this griffin here. Needs to be taken out.
I feel like this enemy gets reused a strangely strangely commonly. Like, of all the bosses in DQ6, he is not the most memorable to me.
Is that where he was originally from?
Actually, was he even a boss? I don't know. I thought he was. I thought he's... trying to think of where. Might be thinking of Jamirus.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking you meant by that. But you're right, Griffin bosses seem to show up a lot. He's taking out the bosses, like, way faster than I remember them dying from when we played, too. Like, I realize that he's good at blocking and everything, but they were going down pretty fast.
が、今、戦利品が落ちたんですけど、力の指輪というアイテムが、落ちることになります。
Now that the boss is defeated,
ソード学会の見解におきますと、この力の指輪はですね、武器強化の都合であんまり落ちて
get a little bit of a scene here.
で、通常ドロップはですね、雷の玉というものになっているんですが、それがですね、武器強化で重要なアイテムとなっております。で、力の指輪に関してなん
Yeah,
ですが、
it's the same
名前の通り
design
力
as Chimeras.
攻撃力が上がるので、
It is the same design as Chimeras, okay.
まあそこまで
Wasn't sure.
悲しくないという、むしろ攻撃力が上がるので、怒りのタトゥーが
Sun comes out.
ですとそちらを使うことになるので、
And look,
ストーリー見ていくんですが、
heroes
仮面つけますね。
defeating a giant monster, wearing the mask.
女王様がつけていたさっきの仮面ですね、に似ているということなんで、ちょっとセティアさんも慌てている様子ですが、こちらちょっと不穏な様子を、あるので、今後どうな
Dun
る
dun dun.
今後どうなるということでしょうか。はい、それでは参照。
So clearly that gives us all the information we need to
第4章犠牲ということで、
save the queen.
まあ、セティアと共に町に戻ります。はい。
But on to chapter 4.
伝えてくるって言って、
Well, it's gonna run off to
避けるようにしように向かいます。
spread the news of what we found, I think.
いいですね。
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 Sounds good to me.
まあ、怒りや
Looks like he just
Nobody in
equipped.
chat knows otherwise. We can just make stuff up about the story at this point.
He just equipped something. I don't know what that was. Looked like some kind of accessory. Bracer or something. I don't know. I don't remember this game having accessories and bracers and junk, but maybe it does.
ということで、お城へ向かっていきます。で、一章を始めるように、兵士に近づかずに話しかけて、
Looked like a ring? Yeah, could be.
ですが、さらに何か起きたようですね。王国近くに凶悪な魔物が現れたらしい。っていうので、まあ、兵を集めようとするんですが、バウドさんがここで来ます。
Why is the gates guard out of breath? Is he not in shape?
倒したということもありますからね。
そうですね。
I mean, what? Do you expect security guards to be in shape?
We just ran the same
まあ、
distance.
でもなんか、疲労伸びすぎたみたいで、ちょっと足元
I mean,
みたいなんで、主人公巻き込まれます。
We also just fought our way through an entire mountain.
Yeah.
まあってこと
So
で
what's his excuse?
仲間になります。
I don't know.
で、ここは特に武器の強化をしないため、この
Maybe he just got
モードで
through, you know, having a snack or something. We interrupted his lunch.
Also, Dad just joined the party.
He did.
まっすぐでお城を出て行って、
We find out that there are,
まあ、ドラゴンクエストシリーズ
I don't know,
やったこと
I
ある
think the
方
guard
多
is
いと思うんです
telling
け
us
ど、
that there
ど
are
うは買わないのかと。
monsters in the Sea Cove area. And Dad's like, all right, we can go check out the monsters. We'll take care of them.
And imagine having a dad in a Dragon Quest game.
別に全部をこう縦で守ればいいじゃないということで、防具は何一つと買いません。特に敵
I mean,
としてをつけることもありませんので、
You have a dad in
お金を使う
Dragon
ことは
Quest
武器の
3,
強化のみとなっております。
kind of.
回復アイテムを買うことは
Kind
基本
of.
的には
He exists. You almost get to meet
ま
him.
あ少しハプニングが発生したとき買う可能性がないとは言い切れませんが、普通のチャートだと、
Guess in Dragon Quest 2, your dad gives you a sword and $50.
はい、ということで、
Road.
怪物を見るが、怪物がいるという海辺を洞窟に今から向かいます。バウトさんと一
He
緒に
also will save your game for you.
That's true. He's got some clowns in the basement you can farm off of.
ということで、魔王の匂いがもうわかるようで、まあ、気をつけて海辺を洞窟行こうと思います。まあ、ってことで、海辺を洞窟ですね。
In 6, you have a dad, but he's the demon lord.
クドールとなります。
Temporary.
で、バウドさん、攻撃技しっかり覚え
You also have a mom, but she's your dad temporarily.
バウドさん、今後も
DQ6 is a video game.
You've got a dad in DQ7.
That's true.
Your mom gives you a fish sub and then you to give to him and you just don't.
Yeah. There's always room in your bag.
タコドアキとドアキーマーがこう並んでくる順番、回転する方向は毎回同じですので、できるだけ早く倒せるよう
Look at this water cave level. Get some reskinned enemies. And some new enemies I think will probably show up in here, I'm sure.
ドア
But
キーマー一発で倒せないこともありますので、しっかりと2回以上切っていくことが大事になっていきます。はい、そして少し前に行きますと、 はいここですねシビエクワゲが出てきます。このシビエクワゲ今出落ちさせられていますが、少し
Jellyfish, Mana Wars.
こちらに殴ってきます。あこれドアキーマ殴ってきましたね。これも少し時間が経つと殴ってきます。理想ではこのドアキーマもシビエクワゲも両方攻撃をさせないというのが理想なのですが、3フェーズ目はかなり難しいので今ぐらいが普通の平均だと思います。あそこのシビエクワゲ結構3フェーズ目なんですけど
It's pretty, this level's a pretty boring one aesthetically through big chunks of it. Like, this cave isn't very interesting to look at. It does open up, but, like, this room's kind of cool here. But, like, the cave sections are just kind of like, it's a cave. The environments in this game are very hit or miss.
これが、通常で2個 EX だとその倍で4個もらえるためここで EX を落としてはかなりまずいです。
You can definitely tell they wanted to, like, put some effort into it, especially if they could do cool things with, like, having monsters come out from, you know, behind rocks or pillars or whatever, but you could also tell that, like, they didn't have quite enough budget to really make them fleshed out more fully in some places.
It's also cool where they give monsters special interactions like the bomb crags that you can knock back and they explode, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The Builders series was good about that too, just making monsters have some special interactions with things.
ギラを売ってきて、その後、これですね、2体目がギラを売ってこず1円をしてくるということがあります。これはですね、こちらの力ではどうしようもありませんので、
These enemies are super slow. I just wait for them to one at a time, do their fireball, dive under, wait for them to come up close to you. This time he's got his Master Stroke charged up to take him out quickly. But now he's got to do this, this spinning motion. Trying to do this playing casually, like the spinning motions for the Master Stroke, is just... You try to, like, go faster and the Wii Remote just doesn't register any of it, and you're just like, what is happening? Just wildly waving your arms around trying to charge up that attack.
That is why webcams are required for Wii games.
Now Dad's gonna zap him. Iodine. Turns out Zap is probably a pretty useful spell in a level full of water enemies.
今1つ落ちてるんですけど、まあできればもう1つは欲しいところ、欲を言うのはもう2つ欲しいところなので、もっともっと落ちて欲しいところですが。
Rebranching paths here.
右、そして、そして左右から来ます。これは左から出てくる、左右から出てくるときは出てきてすぐを切った方がまとまっているので、そこを切る方がとても切りやすくなっていて、3回目に関しては、シビエクワゲの間を縫うように切ることによって先ほど用意処理することができます。ここも同様ですね。サイレスで雷の玉が落ちていない分をここで補給しました。シビエクワゲ雷の玉をドロップします。これは少し嬉しいです。
Two more treasure chests. See ya.
はい、マーマンダインさん、1回ギラを打って。
They must not contain anything important.
The party members jumping in front of the screen to cheer at the end of a battle is another thing that just makes me think of on-rail shooters.
Yeah.
It's kind of a hand wave at the fact that you can't really look around or explore. I'm stuck on this mine cart.
No getting off this train.
ここライデインと後ろにドラキーたちがいますのでライデインで巻き込んで爆弾岩の爆弾にも巻き込みます。ここ少し待ってから引くことによって後ろの爆弾岩まで割って短縮を図っています。
The runner here has got these timed super well between the bomb crag, knockbacks, and the zap cast, like hitting enemies at the exact right time.
Actually remember this specific screen, which must mean it's annoying. I think the side branches are pretty long and just lead to treasure chests.
Sounds familiar.
ライディンが着弾するまでにさまよい鎧が殴ってくることもありますので、ガードは忘れずにしていきましょう。ここは真ん中を選択します。真ん中が早いです。
So when are we racing this again? The run back.
はい、ここマーマンダイのドアキーはですね、マーマンダイの撃ってくるギラーなんですが、このように剣で撃ち落とすことができます。このようなことをするのはここだけですが、オレンジのマークが出ているところはすべて。
Yeah, good job.
Waggle a Wii remote around for 7 hours again.
大丈夫ですか？大丈夫です。はい、ここシビエクワゲが5
Yeah, so Countess mentioned earlier that he and I blind raced this earlier last year, last May, and I finished in about 6.5 hours, 6 hours 45 minutes, and I think Countess was like on the last level or something at the time, but
Yeah, I
didn't end.
recall you were about a level ahead of me.
Yeah. So, even though it's not like a super long game, it's tiring playing this game for 6 or 7 hours.
Yeah.
Here we go, the Battle Rex introduces the breath attacks. You can see it's got like 3 hitboxes that you have to kind of block in a line, and good luck figuring out the timing of actually blocking those in order.
Yep.
You know what I'd love to see is a port of this game to VR. You can actually like look around and stuff, or maybe not a port of the game, maybe a new version of it, but like where you can actually look around and you running through the cave and stuff. Like
Slime Rider.
yeah, like Dragon Quest Beat Saber exactly.
このメタルライダー、自分の位置を確立して出てきます。経験値は美味しくありません。本当にまあできれば出てきてほしくない存在です。
I really like the touch here about the Rogue Knight showing up with the heal slimes.
Yeah. Classic combo. They might be the first enemy in the series that calls for help and doesn't call a copy of themselves.
No, Mud Hands.
Well, they call
And,
for in DQ2 they call for more Mud Hands only, and DQ3 they're kind of late.
Sure, but in DQ3 they still summon Grand Titans.
Yeah.
And the dragons summon the Elysian birds.
Yeah, I said they were first. So
Oh yeah, I guess the Rogue Knights do show up earlier. For some reason I was thinking DQ4 for Rogue Knights, not DQ3.
ah, okay.
That's why I was in my head messed up. But yeah, I guess you're probably right.
多分82ヒットぐらいまでは繋いでいたと思うんですが、
Yeah, Goopy's call for the Grand Titans.
このボス、これボスなんですけど、このボスからダメージを受けなければ
Bigger stone man.
ガード 100% と
So here's the monster that said earlier we were investigating this cave for suspicious monster sightings, and get to the end of the cave and here he is. This guy actually showed up in that earlier scene at the very beginning, walking into the water. And Dad here, we just had Dad cast by kill on us to buff up our damage. So if you've ever seen a DQ speedrun, you probably can infer from that Dad is going to be the speedrun character. There's a bike.
Technically, DQ7 has an in-game monster that calls for slimes, but it's a metal slime that calls for more metal slimes. Oh well, there went the last half of his health bar.
Yep.
Alright.
なんとか102ヒットまでつなげて、さて評定は2万280点、EX 点差おめでとうございます。 いや、良かったですね。
Easy peasy.
すべての条件を達成して。まあ、全敵機器だとガード 100% 達成したんで、最悪100ヒットは
And so here, as we're getting ready to strike the final blow,
はい、こう嘆きを通うつ、まあ、ギリギリとどめさせてないみたいで、バウドさんがとどめを刺そうとするんですけど、セティアさんが寄ってきます。
Florette shows up.
どうしたんでしょうか。
And we find out that for some reason this monster is like her brother or something. I think her brother. That's why he's wearing the necklace that kind of matches hers. But yeah, he's just gonna run away and jump into the water and see a Murbro.
それで自分の体を乗っ取り切られる前に、この、海辺洞窟に逃げ込んで、
I'm guessing this had something to do with like the queen and the mask and what was going on there.
Yeah, I don't remember.
お兄さんとの添えバネを話していますね。では、バウドさんもフォーグと一緒に魔王を、討伐した仲なので、かなり、驚いているようです。
I think bad happens to dads in Dragon Quest, he'll be fine.
魔王が倒されきれていない、ということになるので、これはどういうことだということで、がどうなっていくんでしょうか。
それでは4章も終わりましたので、5章に進んでいきましょう。
All right.
5章もですね、
Chapter 5.
数名前に武器強化に参ります。
Chosen ones.
お金に関しましてなんですが、
Final chapter.
かなり3章4章と多くの敵を倒しておりますので、
Not actually the final chapter.
考えなくて大丈夫です。ですが、この件の
As evidenced by the timer.
先ほどからも再三あるように、
Chapter 5's long.
That's true. It is like half the run, or more.
Yeah. Maybe he's gonna smoke his estimate by 40 minutes like the last run.
Maybe. Alright, here's the Inazuma no Ken, or no Tsurugi, or you want to say sword in this case. The Thunder Sword, or Thunderbolt Blade.
Can you temper a sword with a wooden mallet?
By having two of them, and by being a horned Hakai.
Well, that's fair. Still not sure it'd be the best weapon for tool for the job, but I mean it worked.
It did. Maybe they're magical wooden hammers.
That could be.
この後ストーリーが城の中で済んだ後にそのまま戦闘シーンに進んでいきます。ストーリーが終わってからだと武器強化のために武器屋に行ってもう一回ここの城に戻ってくる必要がありますので、先に用事を済ませておこうという算段に。
So here we're gonna give the news to the, I don't know, minister, chancellor dude here. And he's gonna suggest introducing us to the other half of the title of this game. And going on to the Tower of Mirrors to see what we can figure out there. I don't really remember how the Tower of Mirrors is supposed to tell us what's going on, but the game is named after the Tower of Mirrors, so clearly it's the place to go. And that must mean that this is the final dungeon, right? I mean, the game is named after it. And it's chapter 5. It's not the final dungeon. Although it'd be kind of cool to have an hour-and-a-half long final dungeon in a game like this. You know, die all the way at the end and have to redo it all. Alright, so you can see on that screen you just got to pick now which party member. So it introduced like the party members one at a time, the Prince, Flora, and Claymore. But Now that it's introduced all three, you get to choose which one comes with you. So, that it is.
Using an hour and a half to progress on a death sounds exactly like the kind of game you'd talk me into racing.
Just always save.
We should do our races in game time.
It's fine, you never finish them anyway.
Yeah. So I would have to finish that, huh?
Some of the enemies here are kind of cool, like those cloak guys. They've got like a very high defense, but when you hit them when they're doing like their wind-up animation, they're weaker. There have been a few enemies like that throughout the run that have been like that, but I find these cloaks to be the obvious example of it. He's hitting for like 2 or 3, and then as soon as the cloak does the wind-up, starts doing like 25. And now the game starts to throw these like moving enemies at you, where they're spinning around as you're trying to attack them.
It must have been after Q8 if it's got those cloaks. I have no idea when 8 came out though. 7 was 2000 though, so probably within 7 years of that.
I don't know. 8 was somewhere between... I don't know. I feel like it was when I was in college, so it was probably like 2006, 2007. But I don't know that for sure.
And Quest 8.
2004. Okay, well, in Japan. So then I was in high school.
2005 US.
Okay, still high school.
2006 Europe and Australia.
So yeah, this game definitely would have been after it then, because the Wii wasn't even out yet. Suddenly we're outside along the edge of this tower here, looking over these green hills.
The 3DS version was out a year and a half before in Japan. Why do people get excited for Dragon Quest releases before they come out? It's a year and a half of people popping into my chat saying, "You excited for the 3DS release that Japan just got?" No, I'll be excited when it comes out. Leave me alone.
So what you're saying is Japan is going to get DQ3 HD 2D and we're not for a year and a half.
Fine with that, except for the 4 year and a half part.
Treasures was the first simultaneous release. That makes sense.
Yeah. I should try to get more than 20 minutes into that game.
I think I'm good.
I played for about an hour, but I spent over half of that time trying to get out of bounds. Surprisingly, I haven't succeeded yet.
A lot of ranged flying enemies in this area, and the zap spell is going to get a lot of use here, just because it can hit the distant enemies without having to wait for them. Also, turns out lightning is pretty good against flying enemies. I don't know if that's actually a thing or not, but it's the Pokemon logic, so it must be true.
Does this tower go into space?
It's a tower. It's supposed to be high.
Above the clouds, shouldn't it be hard to breathe up here?
You've been to Zenithia, right? It's literally on a cloud.
That's true. That was chapter 5, so I guess it adds up.
It's true. Do these, like, dart golems ever show up anywhere else?
I don't know. Not that I can think of.
I don't recognize that palette for them, yeah. Bone Riders.
Maybe in the DQ8 section where all the enemies are pitch black, but I don't even know what enemies are in there.
Oh, it could be, yeah.
I just know there's slimes in the boss.
I think there are birds, although the boss is a bird, so maybe I'm just thinking of the boss. Another use of the griffin sprite.
You know what's surprising about people skipping school for DQ3's release is the fact that they're basing the decision to skip school on having played Dragon Quest II Famicom.
Maybe maybe they skipped school for the Super Famicom version. Zap gets a lot of use in this dungeon. He's really spamming it.
Not paying super close attention to his strategy, but I assume he's just like bleeding all his magic on the most efficient random encounters and then saving some for bykill for bosses.
Yeah, pretty much. Either the ones that are needed for like the golems he was using it on, and otherwise just like the distant enemies that are gonna take time to move up to you.
Hey, well, he just jumped down like 400 feet.
He's fine. He just jumped out of the Colossus.
I can do this, but the guard can't run to the king to deliver a message without being winded.
For some reason, there are like this elevator on this column of energy bars. Not really sure how this room makes sense, but it's here. And who's at the top of the tower?
Tower of Mirrors. The Masked Queen. That's the name of the game.
How'd she get up here? Queen Hilda.
That's a good point. Do you think she had to make that jump?
Maybe the mask lets her fly.
Well, I guess so.
I guess so. Although going that slow would take a long time to hover all the way up here.
Yeah. We had to do that whole water monster dungeon though.
It's true. Slash. We just slashed the queen's face and somehow only managed to cut that mask perfectly in half.
Anime, that's easy in anime. It's like the first thing you learn when you learn to use a sword.
It's true.
It's how to cut people's clothes off without actually cutting their skin. Make them drop stuff, lose their mask. It's an incredibly useful narrative tool.
And then the Demon King shows up. And this is where you kind of get told that when the Demon King was destroyed before in that mural we saw, I don't know if you get told this before or after this boss, but whatever. When the Demon King was taken out in that mural before, shocker, he actually was hiding his soul and his power in the mask.
でこの
And when the queen put the mask on, he took over, and his power's been steadily growing. And now that we destroyed the mask, he's free to take over the world.
運用素次第では最低30秒かかりますので、皆さんお祈りの方よろしくお願いします。
And then for some reason, an archdemon shows up.
Yeah, they
殴ってきますので、ガードして3の
got to put a boss in here, so why not just in the middle of the cutscene? Yes.
He comes with some mini demon friends. He's got this sweeping attack with his trident there that's pretty tough to block, just like the breath attacks earlier. And he's gone.
Alright.
By kill is pretty good.
Yeah, I recall these fights being a bit longer when we played.
Yep. He probably also has a better sword, because he's probably using the I did well on the levels and got good materials to upgrade it.
Yeah, he's got max ranks on everything.
どちらかが勝ってしまった場合は、ヒットの点数が大きいので、ヒット数を稼ぐということになります。で、先ほどのアークデモ戦なんですが、最近チャートが更新されまして、前半初手の攻撃で125ダメージ未満に抑えると、
So now the queen isn't being controlled by the mask anymore. But unfortunately, we freed the demon lord. So, you know,
Oh man,
I hate when that happens.
poor Naka is just standing there with his arms crossed. Like nothing's going on.
Yeah,
Stumbling
this game has
around.
an English version. And rising from the volcano. We all know that volcanoes are, you know, the toughest part of every Dragon Quest game, so this one decides to be honest about it and make it the final dungeon. Or at least, presumably the final dungeon. Where the big boss just raised his tower from, so we're probably going there at some point.
I feel like this game got very little attention on its release. Like, I don't really remember it getting any coverage, and I didn't know hardly anything about the game until I saw somebody run it in one of our RTA marathons.
That was my first time finding out about it as well.
結構大変なことやってるなって感じでリンダが頭を下げてますね。
Alright, Queen is saved. Evil Demon Lord's got his tower. What do we do now? Mask is broken.
It was evil, so that's a good thing, right?
Well, the mask wasn't evil. The evil guy was just hiding in the mask, but the mask is strong. It's got power. It can help defeat the evil guy. Maybe. Probably. We did cut the mask in half, but if only there were a way to uncut it in half.
What we do. This is Dragon Quest Swords. We cut things in half.
It's true.
S. Floret has that spell to fix shields. Cast it on the mask. There we
Her
go.
spell doesn't fix shields, it just makes them
Ow.
bigger. But there's an item to fix shields, which is even easier.
Yeah, there we go.
But instead of that,
Ow.
maybe there's like a blacksmith guy or something that can repair it, you know?
Repair powder sounds easier.
It does.
Blacksmith does not seem to have a delicate hand. I don't know if he should be working on a mask.
I mean, there might be another blacksmith. Maybe something related to the mirrors.
Blacksmith's reflection.
Yeah. I would say blacksmith backwards, but I don't know how to actually pronounce blacksmith backwards.
で、鏡の世界までの道はもう通じてくれているようなので、鏡の世界に向かいます。まあ、さっき女王が入っていき
Queen is gonna fix it and then raise an entire village.
バウド、仲間バウドを選択して鏡の世界に向かいます。はい、6章です
I don't know if that's exactly what's going to happen. Red orb. Yep. All right, so if anyone gets like motion sensitivity, might want to look away for this stage. It's kind of trippy. It's not really too bad, but this is the level. We're going through this wormhole looking thing. Be
Are
here
there
for a few
slimes in
minutes.
this?
Oh yes. Slimes and then more slimes. This level's pretty tough casually because it's easy to miss these guys, and I think they'll like hit you for damage if you don't kill them. And it's hard to get a good rank because it's easy to just miss enemies. Thankfully, Zap still kills enemies that are halfway down the wormhole.
Oh. Not going for the metal slimes.
What? He got the metal slime?
Oh, did he?
I
Thought
think
he
so.
Just, looks like he just hit it for 1 damage.
I don't think you can do more than that though. They don't stay on screen.
Ah.
I don't think. I don't know. I thought I saw metal slime's worth of XP pop up, but maybe I was wrong.
Just heard the Japanese commentators say, yeah, Hagure Metaru, so that might be coming up. Oh yeah, I guess it just has 1 HP.
Yeah.
There's one. That's a Hagure Metaru.
Hagu-chan. Oh, Mimic. Imagine going through this trippy wormhole and having treasure chests with teeth like flying at you. Be terrifying. Some more wild camera motions. I don't get motion sensitivity at all, but this is this is making me a little bit queasy watching this. But I think it's done. I think we're out of the wormhole.
I was intentionally not paying much attention to it because I don't want to get a headache off it.
Yeah. And now we're in the mirror world with I don't know, this Stone Man guy. What's Stone Man statue doing here?
Does he know how to fix masks?
He might. Does he look like the kind of gentle person to fix something? This guy looks even less likely to fix thing than the horn hat guy.
Yeah, well, don't judge a book by its cover.
He doesn't even have 2 wooden mallets.
They might be back at his place.
That's true. Even though you can only bring 1 party member with you, everyone's here for some reason.
2 of them just aren't helping out. Slackers.
Alright, I don't know what this guy's Japanese name is, but he's Drog in English. Which, is just guard backwards. Because it's the mirror world. He's got some big punches. Kind of reminds me a lot of Golem. Goes into this flurry. And if you block all the hits, he gets like really stunned. And
there you go.
And there he goes.
Only S rank on that one, not the EX he's been getting.
ここの鏡の世界で
Yep.
EX を取れなかったということで、こういうことで何が起きてしまうかって言いますと、魔物の骨
So
now we're gonna-
shielded climbs at the end of the tunnel. Maybe that's why he got a lower rank instead
Yeah,
of
he
sorting them.
Shielded some of the, I think one of the mimics in the middle too, and maybe a couple other
これ
things.
から魔物の骨が落ちるポイントはたくさんありますので、そこで期待していきたいと思います。
Oh, well, look at that.
さあ
He did have the
力
delicate
は
hands.
すごい力ですね。ま
Uh,
この
the answer was magic all along.
ようなんで、まあこれぐらいの力はあるようです。
We have 3 people with magic.
ということで
They
戻り
couldn't do that?
ました。まあこれで
Chikara no Guardian?
これで魔王
Is that supposed to be
まあ
like-
ちょっと対抗していけるかなっていう感じです。
I don't know what Guardian is. That supposed to literally just be like Guardian? Guardian of power?
褒めたんでちょっと気分が良かったみたいで剣くれます。いやーありがたい。こ
And
れ
a
めっちゃ
sword.
強そう。とても強そうですねこれ。あめっちゃ速い速度で飛んできた。大丈夫これ。これ剣ですけど。
And a sword.
飛ばしたらだいぶ怖いですけどまあ考えてくれ
The Haja no Tsurugi, which is the same as the Sword of Malice from DQ4. In English, they give it a really dumb name. I don't know how to say it, but it's Rend Asunder backwards.
Right.
まあとても強いんで、まあこれからも多分使っていくことになるんじゃないかなと思うんですけど、どうでしょうね。
Wait,
まあってことで第7章です。少しの間私はもう少し引き続き解説をさせていただきます。鏡の世界から無事戻ってきて鏡の
Chapter 7.
It definitely wasn't a chapter 6.
That's what we just did.
No. That's 5.2.
Ah, okay.
その辺どうなんだっていう話なんですが、ナチ同士はもしかしたら知っているかもしれないっていうことで、まあ
Yeah, soft nom. Only one word.
剣の必殺剣なんですが、しっかりと
No space in it. But
しっかりと
yeah,
修行
that's
してこの必殺剣を魔王に使って
I always see that and think it sounds German. As somebody who does not really know any German but has worked with Germans in the past, you try to say that, it's got a lot of consonants that don't normally go together in English, but it's because it's backwards.
話しかけます。これも少し出てくるのが遅いので、右の方に今後移動するので右の方を少し向いた状態で話しかけます。
Alright, and we're going to bring the sword down here to our swordmaster guy from earlier.
必殺剣は巻き破山っていう
And
知っているようで、ここで修行してくれるようです。さあ、しっかりと修行していきましょう。しっかりね。必殺剣発動ってことでね。
he's going to teach us the
しっかりゲージを食べて
Figure of Fate
しっかり食べて、おっと、チャンさん
master stroke,
修行しないですか？大丈夫ですか？どうですか？
which is this weird figure eight motion, which is impossible to do.
31分振り続けてますからね。まあ、しょうがない。
Look, even the runner only got 1%.
まあ、っていうのは茶番で、
He wasn't actually trying, but, you know.
ここでもいいとされています。なんで100まで食べてはいけないかと言いますと、100になるとフルパワーという表示が出てしまって、これでまあ2、3秒の数になってしまいますので、
So he just doesn't get it? He just leaves?
絶対食べないようにしましょう。ゼロだと失敗
No, he got it. He only needed the 1% to do it.
Oh, well.
でここ
Don't need to fully charge it.
こちらもロードが1回少ないからですね。あとは
He'll figure it out how to do the rest of it later.
カーブが緩やかで曲がりやすいというのも
Probably.
で、まあ、このハジャの剣の必殺剣を習得したということをバウドさんにお伝えして、溶岩の海にすぐ行こうって言うんですけど、溶岩の海にすぐ行く方法は、すぐに
So yeah, the
方法はなくて、エルヘイムの森を
I don't know, the sword's supposed to be I don't remember the deal with the sword if it's supposed to be like this is what's able to damage the final boss, or if it's the gist is that like the castle's guarded by a barrier that the sword helps cut through. Like that'd be typically how other DQ games do it.
すごいサクサクっと進めていきます。まあ、基本的にバウドさんの
But
雷電を
anyway, we got the sword and the mask is fixed now. I'm not really sure what we're doing with the mask, but
つけていってくださいという
we've got a mask. It clearly worked so well the last time it was used.
バウドさんを据えていきます。
Let's throw it on and see what happens.
は
I
い
don't see how anything could go wrong.
ゲームの方がいいですね。
Nah.
これ2章の復習みたいな感じになっていっちゃうんですけど、ここもしっかりと解説していきます。まあ、少し変わっている点も
But it's time to go back through the forest from earlier.
即雷電を打ちます。
There's another path through here. It's gonna lead to the Red Sea. Which will then lead to the Deathbringer Citadel. It's really funny them like making you go back through this low-level area this late in the game. Feels a little bit like, I get why from a, you know, like a map navigation standpoint, but going through this level again very much just kind of feels like padding.
Yeah.
空振りをするということはタイムロスにつながるので、できるだけ空振りはしたくないところです。はい、ここ、ディーンを連れていた時をギラを連発していたところですが、まあ、バウドさんでも、ここは連打してないから、まあ、最後ギラ使っていたところですが、まあ、大連。
But it's fine. Dad got zap.
はい、終わりです。まあ、特にずっと大電打っているだけです。
He's got zap and he's got the MP to use it. He's also got blizzard, but he's using zap.
They make new train tracks when you have train tracks at home, because train tracks at home is DQ9.
Exactly. I think that was magic water, yeah. I didn't see what the text said on screen.
Is that orc or pork?
Funny. Magic water is definitely a thing. And elfin elixir also, I think. He should have an elfin elixir. Or get one at some point, I think.
What are these zombie dudes doing?
Just jumping in front of the screen. Oh, hey, fire. That looks like where we want to go.
Yeah. Slime stack.
Not a cool slime stack, though. It's not the 3-color ones.
Yeah.
This was pre-DQ9. Can you really badmouth DQ9 when they introduce slime stacks? Don't answer that. But slime stacks are cool. Because they were in DQ10 too? Yeah, but 9 introduced them.
Nobody's played DQ10 except Tactical.
Alright. Made it to the Red Sea. It's lava. Giant evil-looking tower in the middle of a volcano across a sea of lava. Surely this won't be any problem for our intrepid adventurers. Oh, we're gonna get another 1% figure of fate. Looks like he still hasn't figured it out.
That's all it takes to get into the final dungeon. That's the 1%.
Yep.
And final boss is gonna be in trouble when we get 100% right in front of him.
I don't know. I'm not sure the runners got it figured out.
You may not need to. Look what 1% did.
It's true.
We should have gone higher though, because I don't think you want to walk that close to the magma. I guess it's a video game, so if you're not touching it, it's fine. Lava,
Good
of
point.
course, does not give off heat.
これだけの力が弱そうで、まあ多分これからも覇者を通じて、まあ強化したりはするかもしれないですけど、使っていくと思いますね。
I don't know. It's got some glowy magic stuff, like from the Figure of Fate. Maybe when parting the Red Sea, it also cast barrier on it.
さあここなんですが
And we went home. So hopefully that doesn't expire.
というのでですね、攻撃力が
Yep.
この火事の剣に
Hopefully the Demon Lord doesn't come out and do something about that while we're shopping or whatever.
まあいわゆる火事の
Didn't
剣
even go shopping. There's some kind of a menu there.
はい、これもお役御免となります。
I'm not really sure. Looked like maybe he equipped, changed his sword or something, or was checking his
Yeah.
inventory. I'm not sure.
さあ相変わらずは
Looked like he clicked on a sword for something.
でこの溶岩の意味なんですが、先ほどとは違って氷底が発生します。
Switching back to the
最高評価を取る必要はありません。
thunder sword, maybe.
ダントツで EX を取る
I don't know. I don't know what happens when you get the other sword from the stone man, if
Yeah.
like auto equips it or whatever. There we go. Now he's using Mahiato, taking out the flames. So unfortunately, in this area, everything is red. The enemies are red. The background is red. The projectile indicators are red. Have fun blocking them because you can't see them half the time because everything is red. The fire also, that actually looks okay right now. The fire doesn't always do nice things to bitrate. Although it's holding up alright for now.
Dabbing the ironized giant eyeball.
だいぶ遅いですね。
めっちゃ遅いですね。だいたいまあ3、4秒あればもう入る時には起き
It's not a giant eyeball, it's a spectet.
Ah.
Get your
The red
DQ4 taxonomy correct.
ここにある宝箱なんですが、場合によってはこの宝箱を取ることもあり
They're
ます。
the red ones.
で、あそこの宝箱では2分の1の確率で魔法の性質が入っております。魔法の性質ですね。まあ今日
Some mud hands.
いくんですが、2分の1の確率を外しますと、ニック機
It's really funny to me seeing Mahiato do like 40 damage.
その戦闘シーンが入りますので、単にロスになってしまいます。
Feels like it should do a lot more.
多くですね。ここも、しっかり使ってきます。で、間に、手が出てきますね。マドハンドという敵なんですが、これを
We're king.
倒していきまして、で、ライデンをここで打ちます。で、体勢もここで崩れますので、ここ処理落ちが発生してるんですが、うまく。
Dragon Quest shooting gallery. That's a good way of describing it, yeah.
これでだいぶ8章に向けての剣の強化がなくなってきたでしょうか。何個落ちたかカウントしたしたいんだけど、多分4、5個出てると思うんで、多分大丈夫だと思うんですけど。
Runs by another treasure chest.
1個か2個ぐらい
Yep.
だと思いますね。
Hasn't opened a single one all game, I don't think.
とりあえず、ここの章を頑張っていきましょう。
Might have been one that he went down a short detour to grab.
あ、ちょっと月が出ないんですが、月が出ない。
I'm not positive about that though.
さあ、続いて、このリビングデッドが出るんです
Oh yeah, the one in town, right.
急所ですね。
Ah, yeah.
つくことで、もしかしたら毒が出ずに
I think that one's optional,
多いですね。ここで
just like a backup because he didn't have enough money. Because I don't think he did that in the run that I
演出がありますので、その分、
taken notes off of. There's another one.
で、ベホマスライムですね。
Maybe they're not real chests. Maybe every treasure chest in this game is actually a mimic.
展開復されてしまうとまずいので、しっかり倒しましたね。
Dad jumps on screen. Good job, kid.
同じように、重症が、ちょっと入んなかったです。今回縦型にドックが飛んできたので、返していきましたね。で、後ろにベホマスライム、ちょっと。
He definitely sold the item from that one chest in town.
調停が怪しくなりました。
It was a repair powder.
先ほど申し上げたので、ここは落ち着いていきましょう。
And he definitely needed the money from it to do the first upgrade, so
さあ、続いてなんですが、
just don't know if it's a
先ほどの眠ってた時ですね。
if it's a backup or just an intended part of the gold route.
ちょっと早めにポインターを、
Because upgrading the weapons costs money in addition to the resources. Looks like you got poisoned from the zombies there. Doku.
Yeah, the Japanese chat's posting a lot of poison emotes right now. Before that, they were posting a lot of fire emotes. There's the R from RTA in Japan. It was covered in fire. Now it's poisoned.
That's pretty good.
はい、はい、これちょっと、思いついたのは私じゃないので、思いついた方は責任取っていただきたいですね。ちょっとはい。はい、ということが起きまして、ここからの3連戦、かなり強い敵が出てきます。ご注目ください。で、出てくる敵なんですが、
Now they're posting ice emotes.
4章に出てきたバトルベックスという
The same letter R.
入ってくる竜なんですが、往復か片道かで炎入ってきます。これ片道ですね。
I'm gonna say maybe we'll get some Mahiato spam again. Not now though. Stab in the battle Rex.
いや、煽っておりました。さあ、基本マスラインが出てきますので、ここにマークを打っておくと、次のセットも一緒に倒すことができます。さあ、片道か往復か、お祈りお願いします。あー、往復が来ましたね。こうなると、
Shield's not looking so great. It's got a couple holes out of it. Somebody got hungry in the evening. Wanted a snack.
Yep.
I probably used that shield to serve the turkey earlier, so it's still got some turkey juice on it. So, you know, looks tasty, smells tasty.
この敵ですね。ここでガードしまして、5回殴ります。この敵なんですが、この後に出てくる、今出ましたね。両方に岩がいると思うんですが、この
You do start to feel some repetition with the enemies by the time you get this far in the game. Especially if you're playing casually and you've repeated some full areas, trying to look for items and junk, get extra levels, and farm.
Yeah, it was really noticeable. It had me thinking earlier, so I definitely noticed when I was watching, you know, a VOD in prep for this, that like these final areas just were all reskinned enemies almost.
Yeah.
But it made me think, like, how many DQ games actually introduce a new unique enemy that's not a reskin in a final dungeon? How often does that actually happen?
Final dungeon, not very often, if at all.
Yeah.
Usually they're like reskinned bosses, even.
Right. That's for sure.
Like DQ1, you run into Stonemen, Axe Knights, and Dragons in there. Different colors of each of them.
The DQ3 gives you the gold man really late. He shows up outside the final dungeon, but
Yeah.
I think that's... Oh, I guess that's a reskin also, though, right? Reskin of
Yeah, it's the Lava and
Lava
Glacier
Basher.
Bashers.
Yeah.
I think the devil enemies might be first introduced in Dark World, like the Balrogs and whatever
Oh,
the
yeah.
red color is.
That could be.
They show up before Zoma's castle, but
Yeah, the wing demons in the overworld in Rubus Tower.
yeah, that's kind of late for a new enemy to pop up. But traditionally, almost every enemy in a Dragon Quest game has 2 recolors. So that by the time you get to the end, they've already introduced the first one.
Yeah, 2 has a bunch in Roan, for sure.
Yeah.
But nothing like in the final dungeon. Alright, so Troll got taken out. There was a boss fight there, but it was just another by kill, block his attacks, he recoils and slash him down.
Yeah.
Nothing too exciting there. Kind of just a warm up for what comes next.
My only hesitation for counting all of Rhone in the final dungeon is that no matter how you're playing the game, when you get to that final save point, you sit there for at least an hour.
I mean, it's literally like half the playtime of the game.
Yeah.
At least in the speedrun. Does this game have a sham hat?
Sadly, no. They came later.
Yep.
Did 11 introduce them, or were they in 10?
They're in 10.
Ah, that's what I thought.
I liked crediting DQ11 for that enemy, but sadly. Alright, Chapter 8, Demon King.
ここで、すぐに魔王の使用に挑むか、町に戻って準備を整えるかを選択させてくれます。で、この後武器の
I don't actually know the specific kanji that gets used there. It's the same one they use for Baramos in DQ3. I don't know if it's like yokai or if it's... I don't think it's that. I think it's...
You can recruit Sham Hatwich and your speedruns weren't Sham Hatwich %?
I don't think you can recruit stuff in DQ10 offline. I don't think there's a recruiting class. Maybe it'll get added with DLC or something. I don't think any of the classes in offline recruit. But there's a lot of space at the bottom of the class list where it looks like there's room to add at least 3 or 4 more. So maybe one will get added. Alright, he just upgraded his Thunder Sword to the Tier 3 of Lightning. The, it's Wrath of Zeus in English. There is a King Sword also. I think there's actually 3 King Swords. There's one for each element, but I think you need the Orichalcum to get it, which is either only from the final boss or at least the final dungeon. Yeah, offline definitely does not have those classes now. It started with pretty much the basics. Warrior, Cleric, Entertainer, Fighter, Wizard, I don't know, a couple others, but it's kind of the core group. And I hope everyone liked the red of the Fire Sea, because now we have the red of the volcano.
I was gonna say, it's even redder. Is the Cloaked Sword the only DQ8 enemy in this game?
I don't really remember which enemies are like new to DQ8, but maybe. None of the like early game enemies that I would expect, like the Peppers or the Jail Cats or anything.
Yeah. That'd be fun to have the pepper enemy and cut it in half.
Yeah.
Separate them.
Or bees.
Bees that I don't recognize. They kind of look like a bug in DQ Monsters, but I don't know if they're from a mainline game.
I don't know, I'm trying to think. Like, they look familiar from something, but they also just kind of look like bees. So...
Bees an 8, aren't they? Maybe.
Some blood hands. Graboopy. Originally in DQ6. Alright. That's probably where I recognize them from then.
Thanks, DQ6.
It is pretty cool, like, I know DQ8 was 3D, but like, DQ8 didn't have like monsters on the overworld or anything like that. And it's pretty cool in this game to like be an early version of seeing like all the DQ monsters in 3D. Not all the monsters, but obviously again DQ8 was before this, but
Yeah. When they had models in DQ8, you just couldn't really see them from other angles like you can in the modern games where you can walk around them.
right.
はい。この後ですね、まあ、岩が見えてきますが、もう少しですかね。もう少し
Make sure you type DQ6.
あー、そうですね。すいません。
Yeah,
すいません。ちょっと
seems like a good
字を
suggestion.
見間違えてました。すいませんでした。すいません。タホドアキが出てきます。ここタホドアキと
More Drakis.
出てくるんですが、ライデン
Real scary late game enemy.
ライデンをしっかりと、打っていきます。すいません。
Jerkbird, Star Chimera.
はい、この後岩を倒して
Oh, I didn't add DQ6 and it was the third image
こ
result.
ちらはライデンで青と光の剣で青と1回で壊すことはできないので、速度で差はありません。
Bing must know that you search for Dragon Quest a lot.
Yes.
まあなぜか 2個表示されて
Like PQ4 map references I've been
ここ
searching
右を
for.
選択しますと、奥の方に戦利品がございますが、
Yeah, in the remake the enemies are visible, but the point being that like this game came out. This game was one of the earliest 3D games, and in the PS2 version, they did not show up on the overworld. It's more Mahiato spam.
はい、まあこの辺ですね、ちょっと
The destructible rocks are still exactly the same shape they were in the first dungeon.
Yep. Maybe there's a lily hiding behind it.
Maybe.
I mean, Blizzard's kind of killing them as they get behind it, so. The poison ones.
最初はですね、2時間25分までは頑張りますよと概要欄に書いていたんですが、今や2時間9分です。何言ったんでしょうか。
Doku Lilipa. I forget what their actual, the poison version is.
私、セティアでもともと走っていたんですが、もともとバウドで走ったまあ2時間半切りぐらいはできるかなとかって思ってたんですけど、なんかね、気づいたら2時間9分とかなってて、ちょっとまあ大変なことになりましたね。いや、ここまで切り打うとはちょっと
Going in this big red circle around the big red mountain,
ここでちょっと新しい敵ですね。
fighting
マスウータンといいます
the red enemies.
3章で出てきた敵と同じような敵ですが、ちょっと殴りつかってくる確率が
This game really decided to, you know, look at the trend of everything is brown that the other consoles were doing and decide that we're just going to make everything red.
There you go.
This red is a more
Novel.
Nintendo color.
Talking about lily puzz is making me wonder why I keep trying to run DQ7 instead of DQ builders.
ここ岩ですねということはないんですけど、まあこの岩の体力、まあ HP100 となっておりまして、まあ一発の敵で、
You know, even now that I've run DQ7, I think I would still say that Dragon Quest Builders feels like the longest speedrun that I've done. Because there's no breaks anywhere in it.
Yeah. Does that really make it feel longer though? Compared to a game that has like constant breaks?
Always felt a lot longer than 4, which was only a little shorter. Or longer. What was my builder 6 and change? I guess I eventually got 4 under my builder's PB.
Heading up to the big Gigantes looking thing. What could that mean?
I think this is the most damage he's had on him the entire run.
Yeah, I think so. He's gotten hit a couple times, but not for very much.
He doesn't need that herb chest to keep worrying about.
There are healing items in this game. You can get herbs and world dews, and I think it has world leaves too that will like revive you if you die or something, or at least can revive your party member. But I think they revive you if you die or something. I don't know. Healing items were really important at the end of the game when I played. I was getting owned.
Yeah.
その辺ちょっとタイミングを測って、まあ
Chang has it all
まあ
under
連日
control
で
here.
きるようになります。はい、
Another
ボストロー
troll.
ですね。
Or
岩を
boss troll.
横縦に来ますが、上手ですか。1回目がジャストじゃなかったせいで気づいて。
Or just troll.
確定で残る。
But I like to think he's boss troll.
あ、そっか。
I already fought a troll king. What's this guy gonna threaten us with?
I mean, he's not.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He threw some rocks that we slashed, and somehow slashing the rocks forced them back at the troll. I don't really know how that works, but
There he used by kill on a non-boss.
yeah.
Also used magic water to refill his magic a little bit.
この攻撃の攻略方法、縦にこう3回行く攻略方法なんですけど、縦の面積をしっかりと目いっぱい使ってあげるっていうのが大事で、ジャストガードじゃなくてもいいので、しっかりと上と下のやつを使ってあげる。
Climbing these big set of stairs. There's no way that the that guard from earlier would be able to climb up these stairs.
Yeah, no, he would not be able to have a conversation when he got to the top. Which neither would I, but I'm not a guard, so.
But are you a hero?
Oh no. Oh no. I wouldn't have made it through that forest.
月の急所、スライムベフォーマンスが割とシビアで入らない時もあります。ちゃんと狙っているというつもりでしっかりとマークをしていても入らない時もあるので。
You'd probably be allergic to something in there, and then that'd be the end of the trip through the forest.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Love the King Cure slimes here.
Just doing their thing.
Yeah, just casting, well, I don't know, Behomara, Behomazun, whatever group healing spell they have.
まあただマスウータンを月で倒すということは普通はしないので、まあ特に RTA では問題しません。
See someone in the Japanese chat saying Bahomazun, so probably that.
久しぶりだと思うんですけど、どうですか？今のところ。
辛いです。
辛いですか？いやちょっとね、
Which is heal us all or Omni heal. For anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about when I say the Japanese names of spells.
これとすごいサクサクじゃないかって思うと思うんですけど、もっともっとサクサクと倒していけるんで。ですけど、まあこれでもすごい光の数字でこんだけの速度が。
What could go wrong here?
サクッと敵を倒すことができるのは本当にすごいことです。私は多分こんな風には今はできません。まあ昔もできてません。
Fall off the tower earlier was obviously a bigger drop than this, so that one had to be safe.
Yeah. Except this is at the bottom.
Oh, well. Yeah, there's that.
It's not the fall that kills you, it's the Gigantes golem at the bottom. I think that's what they say.
I've probably heard that once or twice before. Maybe. You missed one of those reflections. Oh, here we go. He figured it out.
He did more than 1%.
Full power. I think he would have killed it if he had not missed that reflection earlier.
Yeah? That killed him.
Yeah.
戦闘終了時に A ボタンというかマークをカチカチカチってやっている理由を多分説明してなかったと思うんですけど。
All right. Stairs rise up into its mouth. That's
safe. That's fine.
Is
He
it?
won't chew us up. We just beat him up.
Do we?
Chews us up, we'll beat him up again.
I mean, that's fair.
Demon Lord's probably in here.
There's half an hour left on the estimate, so, you know, he's got time to die once. Probably. This looks pretty final.
It's a regular version.
体勢を崩してそのまま斬撃を入れることができます。サイコプスの弱点もあそこになっています。まあサイコプス普通に攻略
You weren't kidding about the red, it just keeps going.
あと月が出ないか大丈夫ですね。
At least the
Blue
ground
enemies.
here isn't red.
And the enemies are blue. That's helping. Something different.
Yep, we're in the white ground loop, full of DQ2 enemies. And some, whatever the green Drakis are called. I'm drawing a blank. Magidrakis are red. Drakimas are gold. I'm thinking DQ1 though. I don't know. Whatever the green Drakis are called.
I think they're just Magidrakis again, even though they're a
might be.
different color.
Oh, what could this portal be? I'm sure it'll be fine. Got some shadows coming out of there. He missed one. For shame.
敵がこっち見える前に、判定がありまして、縦に振っておくことで素早く敵を倒すことで次の敵の出現を早めたり戦闘終了を早めたりしております。ここの
Chat's spamming flying Red Bull cans.
Yeah, I see that. Not sure if that's referencing a specific enemy or if it's just shouting out the sponsor.
I don't know. Alright, let's see what's through this portal. It's probably gonna be more red. Oh no. It's the mer dude from earlier.
How did he get here?
I don't know, he probably swam through lava.
Guess we went all the way back to town after we opened the dungeon up.
It's true.
奪い取ってですね、フォルグの実態ちょっとずつ見えてきましたね。結構美少年ですね。いいですね。兄さん、席は寄っていくんですけど、なんか謎の爆発が起き
Oh, hey, look. It's a human.
魔王が実態を表しました。結構怖いですね。
And it's a demon king. With a sword.
Prince is not impressed.
Has any character in this game shown any kind of facial expression of emotion?
Not besides smiling.
Alright, another buy kill, of course. This guy's attacks come out pretty quickly. Some of them hit multiple times, like that one he just did. This one here. Horned Hat guy, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the Demon King. This is the final boss. Despite the fact that he's just kind of standing here, getting caught in the infinite.
See ya.
That went a little faster than it did in the VOD that I watched. Didn't realize there was an actual infinite for that.
Is there a phase 2? I mean, it's Dragon Quest.
I mean, you can't just infinite the final boss.
I don't know. I've infinited final bosses.
You can't just infinite the final boss. He's still standing, so obviously there's a phase 2.
Well, maybe he's just seen the error of his ways and he's gonna change his turn over a new leaf. And
for some reason, they decided to write out Chikara there instead of the kanji for power, even though they've used the kanji for power in this game a few times. But he's becoming more powerful.
I want Yang just to run in here and yell, "You don't look no different." Ha ha ha.
Buy kill again.
Great reference.
Stab the shield to break it, probably. Right off the bat, using this Master Stroke. I'm guessing he's using it to, like, cancel that attack that was happening. Because he used it as soon as that attack animation popped up. Using some items. Repair powder to fix up a shield. More MP. For Dad, notice this boss does not have an HP bar, so you're kind of just guessing this whole time as to whether you're close or not.
I was wondering if he ever fixed his shield or if it like broke early. He just dealt with having the small shield for the rest of the run.
In his PB, the shield fully breaks during this fight, and he just deals with a small shield.
Ah.
So, clearly he's taking some marathon safety. Refreshing some buy kill here. Shielding the foot.
Giant dude steps on you, so you just hold up a shield. That's some Captain America logic there. See,
This
the
attack's-
shield's indestructible, so I can't get crushed.
This attack's really tough. It moves around a lot, and it's like, it's destroying his shield.
Yeah, and keep in mind, this is a Wii remote that you're pointing at the screen. So,
Yeah,
if your hands are shaking at all, good luck playing this game.
he's got
Blocking
another
anything.
Master Stroke, so I'm guessing he's going to figure a fate again here soon. Spam Dad's MP. Macchiato.
Just eating all these damage. Help World do. Fully healed both of his characters.
I think he would have survived it, but
Not spamming ones.
full power. He's still standing. Oh, he just poked Dad on a skewer.
Oh no, I said nothing bad would happen to him. Oh, it did like 30 damage. Okay.
I bet you'd taste good on a skewer. Prepared his shield again. Looked like he was going to do the spinny dash attack, but maybe he doesn't do that in this phase. I don't know. Boss is hanging back. Oh, and reflects energy balls at him. Thanks, Zelda. Reflect 3 at a time at him. Kapow. Ooh. You only got 1 of those 3.
Is that it?
I think that's it. I think
Alright.
that's GG. Yep. Receive the Orichalcum from beating the final boss.
You know, that fight was a lot more satisfying than the phase before that.
Yeah, for sure. That was sketchy. Good thing he had the healing items with him.
Yeah. The head of the mask is doing something.
It's glowing. Mask kind of looks even like the merman face, you know?
Oh, he turned him to stone. Why did they do that the first time instead of putting him in the mask?
I don't know.
Oh, the mask is on him. Okay.
Somehow the dude's wearing the mask too, yeah.
Oh, and it's broken. Okay.
And now you slash him. And now he's broken, I guess.
Alright. Is the mask okay?
And that was time. 2:11:57. 20 minutes underestimate. Almost. 18.
We were right on schedule. Now we're an hour ahead.
Yeah.
These 2 DQ runs.
And I still can't believe that DQ Monsters run. Anyone who's here watching who missed the run before this of the DQ Monsters Retro, Should check that out. That was a world record run.
言えてましたけどね。
It was really good.
まあ、あとこうやってフォーグ担
Yeah,
い
he
で走
beat
って
his estimate by like 40 minutes. He made it look easy.
もう割と親かごめんしてるんで。まあ、こうやって走っていて、ディーンがね、線路。
Oh no, the tower is collapsing. We must escape.
あ、関谷さんあ、ちょっと、
Oh, the mask.
主人公それ気にしてんのそれもういない、魔王を倒してる。
Oh no, what happens if the mask falls into the lava?
大丈夫これ大丈夫 さすがにね。
Oh wait, isn't that a good thing?
予定タイムだいぶ湧いてますし、いや、こんなところに主人公落ちるわけないですよね。まあまあ、大丈夫ですね。これ絶対大丈夫です。
Did he fall so far behind?
いや、まあまあ、もうまだ
He stopped to turn around and
まあ結構
try to get the mask.
あ、スローモーションだった。あ、これ
Now
は
he's slowing down even
大丈夫
more.
ですねスローモーションだったんであ、これは確定です。あ、よかった、無事ね。
They're all just standing there cheering him on.
あれ
You can do
あ
it.
れ音いや、だいぶ距離ある。大丈夫これ。うわー。あー、バウトさん。いや、結構距離あったと思うんですけど。
It's fine. Dad's got us.
Dang it, stopped collapsing right there.
Somehow Dad and you aren't both dead.
まあまあ、無事助かりましたと。まあ、ちなみにこれ、選んだ仲間が、助けに来てくれます。
That's right.
こう、5章始まるときね、一人旅を選べると言いましたよね。さあ、一人旅だとどうなるんでしょうか。あ、ランダムです。はい。
Now, this was the scene from earlier where the brother, Floret's brother as a merman, walked into the sea. Now he's just chilling out back in human form, sitting on a rock, not walking into the sea.
まあ、その辺はチャンさんにお任せをしてます。
Gives him his necklace back.
はい、そうですね。
Or tries to.
まあ、本番の環境の調整とかいろいろ考えながらやったんですけど、まあ、やっぱりこういうアクションゲームは本番でやるにはちょっと難しいところはありましたね。まあ、その中でも、まあ、ちょっとラスボス戦のね、まあ、タコ殴り、まあ、命名はないんですけど、
What if it turns him into a fish person again?
Then take it back off.
Oh, he didn't think of that earlier.
Well, he did. He took it off before he dove into the water after you beat him up.
Ah.
But he was still a fish person.
皆さんご視聴のほどありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
Sadly, I don't think he joins your team. This game does have a post game. There's like a mirror world with mirror versions of bosses, but anyway, that was Dragon Quest Swords.